A lot of students have asked us in the recent past that how do we prepare for the NEETPG 2023, and specifically actually the questions are more varied, that will we have a NEETPG 2023 or will the pattern change, or when is the exam going to happen, and what are the strategies that we should use. And we have also found out that there are two kinds of students. One who have given this attempt and have not done up to their expectations, or they are not getting the branches that they want to get. And the others are the people who are starting afresh. So, me and Dr. Deepti today will be trying to answer most of your questions to the best of our ability. With the background that we have been mentoring students for last 2 decades and probably more, and we have had massive results this year in NEETPG. And one thing that we have noted in common with all high achievers, that each one of them was working with discipline. And it is like at the outset, what I would tell you today is that the discipline will outweigh any talent, any intelligence that you would have. So it's like most important thing is to have a disciplined approach. So let's set the ball rolling. I'll ask Dr. Deepti to give a comment on, how do you think that if somebody who is starting now afresh, what should they keep in mind?
Right, so we have had multiple times interactions with students and among the faculty as well. And what we've realized is that there are 3 very, very important ingredients when you are preparing for these exams, right? And they have to come in an order. So the first thing for anyone who is starting afresh is the content, right? So I feel that that is the thing which is of utmost important and should come first. Building your content. And when I say building your content, let me tell you that it's not just about reading fact books close to the exam. When you're appearing for these exams, it has to be smart study. So your content has to be crisp, it has to be concise, and at the same time it has to be high yielding. Your content has to be something which can be read multiple times, and with every reading, your effort and your time reduces to read the same set of notes. And that's precisely why, we have been always forcing upon attending the classes live and making your own set of handwritten notes. I mean, you must have heard it from every topper this year, whether we talk about INICET or we talk about NEETPG. Something that they all had in common was that they exactly knew what have they written. So, every time they had a problem, they went back to the exact same page, the line, and you would hear them saying that ma'am, class mein wo copy ki page yaad aa raha tha. And that's how it has to be. You have to be so familiar with your notes that it comes as a reflex, because exam you have less time, and if you overthink, then you land up making bigger mistakes. So your content has to be on your tips, it has to come out as a reflex, and that is the most important thing. The second important aspect of your exam preparation, which I think Dr. Sumer is the best at, is developing your MCQ skill and your exam skill. So once you're ready with your content, the next in line, and I won't say next, it is something that has to be done side by side. But yes, the second important aspect is MCQ practice and developing an exam skill. And the third one is revision. So we'll talk about each one of them. I think, Sumer, you can talk about developing exam skill.
Definitely, and before I add on to exam skill, एग्ज़ाम में जब हम तैयारी कर रहे हैं तो कई चीज़ों की जो शुरुआत है वो बहुत पहले हो रही है. जैसे डॉक्टर दीप्ति ने बताया कि कंटेंट ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. तो एक चीज़ जो मैं देख रहा हूँ आज बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स ने, और हमने बहुत सारे स्टूडेंट्स से बात की जिन्होंने अच्छा परफॉर्म किया है और जिन्होंने अपनी एक्सपेक्टेशन से कम भी परफॉर्म किया है. व्हाट वी हैव लर्नड इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट इंग्रेडिएंट इज देयर ओन मेड नोट्स. And if you can just roll back into the DAMS-eMedicoz channel on YouTube, you will find every one of the top rankers was making notes from their 3rd year MBBS itself. And एक बच्चा है जो सोच रहा है कि मैं कुछ शॉर्टकट कर लूँ और मैं किसी और के नोट्स खरीद लूँ या मैं फोटोकॉपी कर लूँ, उससे बात नहीं बन रही. हमें जब हम if we write something with our own hands, it is more easy to revise and it is more easy to do it multiple times. And now you may ask a question that, like Dr. Deepti has said, there are students who have made notes and there are multiple students in a classroom. Then why somebody is doing well in a competitive exam and somebody is not doing well in a competitive exam? That is where the role of MCQ skill comes. This exam that you are going to appear for, and I like to add here that most likely you will be appearing for NEETPG itself. The proposed change that was supposed to happen in 2023 next, as of now it looks unlikely that it would happen in next year, because we are already in June this year, and it looks unlikely that they would do a change in the upcoming year. So the pattern should remain similar to this year's. In MCQ skill, you have to first of all develop a habit of doing MCQs. Now what happens is, many students, they like to listen to classes, they like to read books, but when they have to attempt question, when they have to apply their knowledge on the question, they struggle a little bit, because it is more of an active activity. And only way you can develop this is by developing a habit. And that habit has to be, and this is a line that I've often repeated in my classes, that you have to eat the frog in the morning itself. What is a frog? Frog is something that you don't like. Nobody likes a frog. It's a slimy creature. Similarly, you don't like doing MCQs, but if you do them in the morning itself, so you make a habit that I will do 50 MCQs. Like in DAMS, we have a slogan, 50 MCQ from DQB, from the DAMS Q Bank, every day in the morning. Now you will think, sir, I was thinking of doing thousands of MCQs and you are saying that do only 50. Now what happens is, when we target doing thousands, it kind of has a overpowering effect on us and we don't make any progress. But when we make smaller targets, that we will do only 50 questions every day, it seems small, achievable, you start doing it. But what happens is, at the end of 1 month, you would have done 1500 MCQs. At the end of 10 months, you would have done 15,000 MCQs, and your skill will be, massively improved. And this is one small change that you can make in your habits, in your way how you approach the exams, is that if you give, do this in the morning itself. Very important that don't push it to night. Now, I see many students do this mistake that अभी थोड़ी देर पढ़ लेते हैं, फिर MCQ करते हैं, फिर जब तक शाम होती है, अभी तो थके हुए हैं, कल fresh mind से करेंगे, फिर कल कभी आ ही नहीं रहा है. So you have to do it in the morning itself. So, Dr. Deepti, somebody has not done well in this exam. Like, so far we have talked about people who have starting afresh, but somebody who has not done well in the exam. How do you think they should analyze their performance and then find a way forward?
Right, I think this is something that I've been getting a lot of messages about as well, that ma'am, I was expecting something better and I haven't performed up to my expectation, and now what is the way forward? So, I want you to spend one day with your own self. Take a piece of paper, divide it into 2 halves, and the first thing that I want you to do is write down on one side what are your strengths and write down on the other side what are your weaknesses. This is something that you need to tell yourself. And why do I want you to write it down? Because, when you do that, you're actually accepting your mistakes, you're accepting your weakness. Otherwise, you feel that no, you did your best, and despite all your efforts, it wasn't up to the mark. So, if you really want to drop and try again, it's very essential that we know what are our lacunae, what are the loopholes that we need to plug, and that calls in for an analysis. So take a day, spend it on your own self, and first thing is do a strength weakness analysis. Now once you're writing down, you will really get to know, was the problem with the content? That is one aspect. Was the problem your MCQ skill and revision? That is the other major aspect. And once you identify these, it becomes easier for you to know where to start from, because that is something that you don't get to know. You say, ma'am, kahan se shuru kare? Should I start with MCQs? Should I start with tests? Should I start with notes? And in the process, you're not starting at all. So, बहुत ज़रूरी है कि this is the first thing that we do. Let's figure out. Then you can reach out to both of us. We're also answering queries one-on-one. We have a special WhatsApp number. Please feel free to get in touch if you're not able to do the analysis yourself. A lot of times, someone else can see the broader perspective from a third person's view and is able to figure out, okay, this is this is probably where you lag, this is where you need to push. And that little comment or a voice note from a teacher goes a long way to help you sort of stick to your fight when you're hardest hit.
And I'll try to give us very simple answer to this question that you have given this exam and you did not perform up to your expectations. So now the questions that you need to be answering is कि अगर एग्जाम में there were questions where you had no idea about. बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन थे जो मुझे कुछ आ ही नहीं रहा था. तो इसका मतलब मेरा कंटेंट ही कम है, यानी जो मैं मटेरियल होना चाहिए या मेरे पास जो नोट्स होने चाहिए वो ही कम है. अब दूसरी बात होती है कि मैं पेपर दे रहा था, मुझे पता था लेकिन याद नहीं आ रहा था. That means I had the content, I was going on the right track, but I did not revise well. So now you need to work on your revision strategies. Number 3 is कि सर मैं क्वेश्चन आते थे, I was able to do 2 choices and then I got confused into final 2 choices. That means you need to work on your MCQ skill. That means you know things but you're not able to truly apply those skills on MCQs. That is where your 50 MCQ daily practice will help you. But even more important is, and I've seen this happening with many students, मुझे आता था, क्वेश्चन भी मुझे आते थे, मैं कर भी पा रहा था, but टाइम कम था. So that means you did not work on the final aspect, which is the exam skill. And that is where I would strongly recommend that you start giving grand tests. In DAMS, we conduct a full course 200 MCQ grand test every month. And at the beginning of your study this year, I want you to do at least 1 grand test every month. Now you might ask us कि सर अभी मेरा कोर्स खत्म नहीं हुआ है, जब खत्म हो जाएगा तब ग्रैंड टेस्ट देंगे. लेकिन सच ये है कि कोर्स कभी खत्म नहीं होगा, टेस्ट पहले देना शुरू करना पड़ेगा. सो बिल्डिंग योर एग्जाम स्किल, building your content have to go together and they have to go hand in hand. Gradually, when you will come to your final phase of your preparation, we will tell you to increase the frequency of giving grand tests. Grand test has questions which are from all subjects mixed together. What we have seen is that many students are able to do कि अगर बोला कि कल forensic का पेपर है तो वो पढ़ लेंगे, लेकिन अगर वो पेपर में सारे सब्जेक्ट एक साथ आ रहे हैं, so they are not able to apply. So these are the common sense approach, these are the common sense introspection that you need to do for yourself. मेरे लिए नहीं करना है, आपने अपने लिए करना है. लेकिन कई बार ना I see a lot of students coming and saying कि सर लोग ये कह रहे हैं, दोस्त कह रहे हैं ऐसे कर ले वो, लेकिन हर एक के लिए उसकी एबिलिटी अलग है, उसकी लैकुने अलग हैं, उसकी वीकनेसेस अलग हैं. कोई भी जेनरिक दवाई नहीं है कि सर मेरे दोस्त का ऐसे हुआ था तो मैं भी ऐसे कर लूँगा. I have seen many people do this blunder. Like in DAMS, there are 2 kinds of courses. We have a course which is a regular course, which on NEETPG app is called as the Ultimate Live course, and we have a test and discussion course. They have different set of people would be suitable for these courses. Like अगर मुझे content भी बनाना है, समझना भी है, I need to be in a regular program. अगर मुझे सिर्फ I want to learn the MCQ skill and application, I need to be in a test and discussion course. But अगर मुझे पता ही नहीं है कि मेरी weakness क्या है, तो मैं improve नहीं कर पाऊंगा. So the key is in yourself. You find what went wrong. Now I have, and I think Dr. Deepti also has shared massive examples of students who have come back from not qualified ranks to top 100 rank, top 200 rank. So it is all possible to do.
Yes, I'd just like to add this year I'm absolutely happy, not just with the toppers, but I'm really delighted to see students who've come from really far behind ranks, 60,000, 70,000, and they've now come to like top 1,000, 2,000 ranks. So, that is truly, truly inspiring, and that tells you that whether you're from a private medical college or you're a foreign medical graduate, or you feel you are an average or a below average student, you can break all these barriers that you put around yourself. You need to break through these chains and realize that it's not about what has happened so far. It's what about what you're going to do from now. And if you decide this, you get your power back and you realize that it is in your hands to shape up your future. And also, Sumer, since we've been talking about MCQ skill and exam skill, there is something that is my forte, and I've had a lot of messages which students are overwhelmed with, and that is how to do the analysis. you all give tests, you practice 50 MCQs, you give so many grand tests, but there is something which you lack. And I know that because I was once at your place. We've done the same things, and when you realize that this is what went wrong, and that is the analysis. सिर्फ MCQ प्रैक्टिस करने से या ग्रैंड टेस्ट देने से 50 ग्रैंड टेस्ट दे दिए या 100 दे दिए is no surety that you will do well in the real exam. The only surety is that if your score in the grand test is improving, and once I say that, I actually mean the number of correct questions. So frequency matter तब करता है जब time management is your concern. If the number of correct questions is less, you need to work on that. And that's where the 3-column strategy comes in. So between the 2 grand tests that you are going to give, you need to work on the 3-column strategy, and you need to do an analysis on your weak topics, new topics, your volatile topics. And gradually you will realize that if you are following the 3-column strategy over a period of 3-4 months, your number of correct questions will definitely improve, beta. And yes, 145 plus correct is what I feel is a safe zone in a DAMS grand test to ensure that you're not in the clutter zone in the NEETPG. है ना, clutter zone क्या होता है कि एक rank पे बहुत सारे बच्चे हैं. So you're not less than anyone, but just because of one MCQ, you were far behind in the ranks, and that's something that I don't want to happen. So let's ensure that we are doing the MCQs, but very importantly, we are analyzing them, we are working on them to ensure कि हमारा ग्राफ ऊपर जा रहा है.
And I also want to take this video and take this opportunity to the 3rd year and 4th year students who are listening to us today. So this year in the NEET exam, the exam which gives you seats in prestigious places like AIMS, PGI Chandigarh, JIPMER, we have seen almost all students who have done well in this prestigious exam called as NEET have been either they have started in their 2nd year MBBS or in 3rd year MBBS, and they had a luxury of time that they spent 3 years, 4 years preparing, and they were all students of live classrooms, which is a very important message that we wanted to share, that at DAMS we have a philosophy that either offline or online, wherever you're studying with us, we believe in live teaching. We believe that a teacher should work as hard as a student is doing. So if I record my content today and you watch it, I leave it for 2 years, it would not have the same impact from if I'm teaching live and you're sitting there. So when you see your teacher working hard, when you see your teacher spending time for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, you also feel inspired to learn. And that brings the element of discipline. Now, whenever we are accessing a recorded content, and I am myself, I'm a highly motivated person, but I want to confess this today on a YouTube video that every time I have subscribed to, American literature or videos which I can see later, I have conferences as well, I've never been able to see them. And only events that I have been able to complete are the ones which I have attended live. So that is the philosophy behind the NEETPG live classes. That is the philosophy behind our face-to-face classes. We strongly believe that when there is a schedule and you come to a classroom or you are attending in a live classroom, you are chatting with the teachers, your concepts are formed better and your notes are made better and the work is completed. Otherwise, every 15 minutes on a recorded content, you will say, कल कर लेते हैं, आज थोड़ा fresh mind नहीं है, और थोड़ी देर में करेंगे, and nothing gets completed. At the end of the day, success is about common sense. At the end of the day, जिसका syllabus खत्म होगा, उसका rank better आएगा. It is actually simple. लेकिन हम कॉम्प्लिकेट कर रहे हैं उसको कि कई बार ऐसा लग रहा होता है स्टूडेंट्स को कि हम बहुत ज़्यादा सामान इकट्ठा कर लें और पूरी दुनिया के जितने यूट्यूब चैनल हैं, जितने टेलीग्राम ग्रुप्स हैं, सबका सामान उठा के फ़ोन में डाउनलोड हो गया. लेकिन वो फ़ोन में आया ना, दिमाग में नहीं आया. रैंक कैसे आएगा? रैंक तब आएगा जब मैं उसको अप्लाई कर पाऊंगा. And I think, mindset also is an important part. We've talked about almost everything, but mindset, if you're starting afresh or if you're making a comeback, how do you manage your mindset? So, Dr. Deepti.
Yeah, since you talked about mindset and since you talked about early starters and how they had an advantage, प्लीज डरने की बात नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है कि इफ यू डिडंट स्टार्ट इन थर्ड ईयर तो आप INI-CET क्रैक नहीं कर सकते. ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. See, let me tell you something very interesting. INI-CET is a different exam when you talk or compare it with NEET-PG. So what you need in INI-CET is a more crisper thing. So something that is specially crafted for it, because they have set topics that they are going to ask. The questions will definitely change, right? But they have some set of topics that they're fond of asking. They will ask those things. So if you are starting a little late, so even now if you want to prepare for November INI-CET, it's not late. But the only thing is the mindset that you need to understand that now is not the time for slogging. It's the time for smart study. And what is smart study? Smart study hota hai that when you have less time, you are going to put your energy into more probable and more high yielding things ताकि आपका hit rate बढ़ जाए. So now if you're preparing for November INI-CET, what I would say is, instead of going through everything all over again in 19 subjects, let's think about where we need to put our energy more. And that's where the INI-CET TND, which always has a very high hit rate in the exam, is going to help you. It's a specially crafted course. It will only cater to things that the central institutes are fond of asking. It will give you the updates. So I'm sure you have seen the last INI-CET in May, and they have asked a lot of recent things. Something that came out in April was asked in the May exam. So you need to be updated. You need to be doing the smart study, and that's what we are here for. So you're going to put in the hard work. We will simply tell you what is the right direction to do that, so that your journey becomes more easy and you're able to reach where you wanted to reach.
And talking about your final phase, in your final phase of revision at DAMS, we have specially curated courses. One is called as the DAMS-DVT. And we are very proud to say this year from DVT we had, I think, 40-50 questions out of 200 directly from our revision program. We would strongly recommend that you keep it for your revision month, that you use DVT in the final phase. Don't forget to look at the previous year questions in your final phase. And don't forget to, especially before the AIMS exam or the INI exam, don't forget to look at the AIMS capsule. And we have also curated a special course on the app which is called as the Emergency Room, where we have put all the emergencies together. Now, I believe that when I have to make a question for a doctor who has to appear for an exam, I want to test him at least for the emergencies. मुझे लगता है यार उसको कुछ नहीं पता, कम से कम emergencies तो कर ले. And this is the philosophy that most of the examiners also have. So every year I see from the emergency room, at least 4-5 questions are there in the exam. So this should be on your mind when you are revising.
And the reason why we wanted to bring out the DVT and AIMS capsule here is, there's another query that we get कि मैम अभी कर ले DVT, अभी कर ले AIMS capsule. So please understand, हमने आपको एक order बताया है in which you should utilize your resources. DVT is already a part of your regular course, it's a part of your TMD course. But what you have to realize is when to utilize the resource so that you're making most out of it. Please understand one basic thing, बच्चा, कि जब आप तैयारी शुरू करते हो, it has to be a broad study. जैसे जैसे you are getting closer to the exam, you narrow down your things that you need to revise. So DVT हम चाहते हैं कि आप aim के लिए रखो, let's say 15 days, 1 week before the exam. It's a super high yield resource. But अभी जब हम तैयारी करेंगे, हम thoroughly करेंगे. Right? Let's go into the depth of things that are going to be asked. Let's not leave any stone unturned, because every compromise that you make is going to compromise a question. For me and Sumer, it could be just a question, but for you, it's going to be something much more than that. Yes, it can give you your desired seat, or it can take it away from you. So we do understand that every question has a big value, and that's why we're here to create that value. Let's utilize the resources that you have to the best, so that you come out with flying colors. We are here with you anytime you need us. You can reach out to us on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on Twitter, and we would definitely try and help in the best possible way we can.
An important thing is to trust your mentors, trust your teachers. if your teachers are teaching you something. And last year, and I think in the last, I think so many years of our experience as teachers, I have seen many times students will come back to me after the exam saying, सर सब कुछ तो आपने पढ़ाया था लेकिन मुझे लगा नहीं था कि इसमें से आएगा, तो आई वॉज अकोमुलेटिंग मोर एंड मोर स्टफ एंड उस चक्कर में मेरा सारा टाइम खत्म हो गया. सो एग्जाम is going to happen at a date, and I think this is the time where we need to talk about it also, that recently in one of the meetings the minister has talked about having a early NEETPG next year. So it could be somewhere between January or February or March, but it is towards the earlier side of 2023. तो टाइम कम है. सो इफ़ यू हैव दैट माइंड सेट के ये टाइम है, अब मैं उसमें सारी दुनिया का सारा सामान इकट्ठा करूं कि जो मुझे मेरे टीचर कह रहे हैं उस पर मैं फेथ रखूं. सो इट इज़ इम्पॉर्टेंट टू हैव फेथ ऑन योर टीचर्स. It is important to plan your study according to the time available to you. It is important to phase your study, and also I would want you to keep in mind कि एक ऐसा मौका है आपके पास, स्पेशली पीपल हु आर सेइंग कि सर मैं दोबारा पढ़ूं कि ना पढ़ूं, 6 महीने में होगा कि नहीं होगा. मैं तो ये सोच रहा हूँ कि बस 6 महीने और लगाने हैं. थोड़ा अलग सोचना है. जैसे जब एग्जाम में टाइम कम होता है ना, तो कुछ लोग ऐसे सोचते हैं कि सर 6 महीने कैसे होगा. मैं कह रहा हूँ 6 तो महीने लगा लेते हैं. अब तो 6 महीने में तो पूरा डबल पावर लगा देते हैं.
और इसमें मैं आज एक स्पेशल स्लोगन या छोटा सा कुछ कैप्शन इंक्लूड करूँगी, एंड आई वांट यू ऑल टू राइट इट डाउन अंडर दिस वीडियो एज कमेंट्स दैट वी आर इन इट टू विन इट. ओके, अगर हम शुरुआत कर रहे हैं तो हम जीतने के लिए कर रहे हैं. You will not give yourself any other plan, no plan B, nothing. It's just going to be my day. And as I said, we're going to write this in it to win it. So together, I'm sure we will work hard with you, and we are also in it to win it better.
So my way or the highway. So and my final message is going to be, what is it that you are going to regret in future? Most important thing is कि अगर आपको, and especially people who are in the borderline ranks this year who are not sure कि will I get a branch of my choice or not, and should I compromise or not, the most important thing is कि क्या आज से 20 साल बाद, 50 साल बाद जब आप अपने बच्चों के साथ, ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन के साथ बैठ के सोच रहे होगे, तो क्या रिग्रेट करोगे कि मैंने 6 महीने और नहीं पढ़ा था? अगर करोगे तो पढ़ लेते.
रिग्रेट नहीं करेंगे. हमारे बच्चे they will make their life a story worth telling. तो ये एक्चुअली आगे बताएंगे कि पता है ऐसा हुआ था, फिर मैंने ऐसे करके दिखाया. सो यू गोइंग टू मेक अ स्टोरी ऑफ योर ओन लाइफ. यू आर द हीरोज, एंड आई एम श्योर ईच वन ऑफ यू इज एक्सट्रीमली केपेबल to achieve your dreams. Best wishes.
Once more, we wish you all the best.